Hello, everyone. Hi, welcome. Slightly different setup today. Hello, everyone. This is
Hi.
John Brown, who's I'm just going to move that screen a little bit so you can see him. This is John
Made my
Brown.
day seeing him. That's
Have they
great.
seen
Yeah,
him?
hold his neck up. Yeah.
Have you seen? I don't know if our readers have seen John Brown or met John Brown.
Yeah, maybe
Um,
not.
Maybe not. Hi, everyone. This is the Better Reading B segment with Cheryl Arkle and Jane Tara. I'm not usually on this segment, and Jane's roped me into it today. So,
And why have I done that?
because you feel that I should be more mindful.
Because I'm selling it to you. I'm selling you the whole, it doesn't need to be woo-woo, does it?
Does it? No. There's
No.
Natalie Burke. Hi, Natalie. Hi, Jessie. I'm not usually on this segment, but as I said, Jane has dragged me into this one. And
I like you coming onto this segment because I think that we offer a point of difference. Like, obviously, you know, I'm into all of this sort of stuff, but it can actually help people who haven't necessarily turned to self-help and wellness in the past, you know, and you fall into that category. And you've met some amazing authors, and so it's kind of like it's a nice balance rather than it just being woo-woo, you know. And it's not angel cards, Cheryl, but now do you want me to read you?
Oh, you can see what she's doing to me. Honestly, I feel as though I've been conned into this segment. Everybody, I've been conned. So help me out. This is my dog, John Brown, because we're working from home today. John Brown is 15 years old and he's the best puppy on earth. And he's not into wellness either. But
well, he must be because he's very old for a dog.
He is very old and he is very fit. He's always been on a very good diet. Okay, who have we got? Sharon. Hi, Sharon. Hi, Kylie. Kylie says, hi, Cheryl and Jane. I hope you're well and staying safe. We are well, but I mean, this is part of the conversation today, isn't it? I've been finding it hard to keep well.
What have you been doing?
I've really I'm not meditating. But I am walking my dog in the park twice a day, and I sit afterwards. I stay in the park on a park bench and just try to take some of the greenery in, which I think is really important. I used to do that before, but not as long as I do it now. But the other thing that I'm doing is every day I'm meeting someone in the park. Because I live alone and I can't have anyone in my house. So it's been really nice to be able to meet somebody in the park. I just met Jane Polframan in the park and I went for a walk with her. I just did that today. And I think that that's really important. That's really important for my mental health. And the other thing I've been doing, as you know, for those of you that follow me on Instagram, I've been baking. And that's very good for me. Do you know the thing about baking? It's the achievement, of course, for sure. And I'm not a great baker, so I'm learning all the time. But what I like about baking, it gives structure to my day. So if I'm baking bread, for instance, I've got to wait. It's pre-planning. I've got to think the day, you know, so I'm meeting Jane in the park today to go for a walk. But yesterday I had to think about if I wanted to give her a loaf of bread. So I've got to think about it the day before. So it gives me kind of, it gives me a purpose, or structure, if you like.
So what you've done is you have identified the areas in your life that you struggle with during lockdown, and you've found really, really healthy ways to kind of just work with those areas, you know, and community is big for you because you're social.
So for those of you that don't know, and because this is feeling like a session that Jane is giving me, a free session.
I'll invoice you up.
Okay. Can I just say, I've lived on my own for a very long time and I've always loved it. Always. And then lockdown hit and I haven't loved it so much. Because living on your own during lockdown is a totally different story. Now I'm just going to go to some comments here, Jane, because they're all with us. All our lovely people are here, which I love. And John Brown's here, as you know. Anne, hi, I'm a newbie. Hi, Anne. Welcome. Bianca. Oh, hi, Bianca. This is Jane's segment, Better Reading B, Bianca, just so you know. Natalie, I love the Dr. Phil books. And Breen Brown, I'm only slightly woo-woo. Okay, well, you must be a little bit like me.
Well, I mean, now this is a point. Brené Brown is an academic. So she spends years collecting data and researching her topic before she puts out a book, you know. So it does fall into self-help, but it's really backed with science, you know, and that's like so many of the titles that we do with Better Reading Bee.
Look, there's no doubt, and I know I'm always teasing you, but there's no doubt that meditation or taking time out or spending time in a park, I mean, there's no doubt that those things are really good for you.
Yeah.
Okay, Lynette says, hi, lovely ladies. Lovely to see you both. Hi. We're both in our separate premises because we're not allowed to be together.
Yeah.
It's been about 6 weeks since I've seen Jane, actually.
Yeah.
Mary says, hi. Cheryl and Jane, hi, everyone. Natalie says, John Brown is adorable. Can I just tell you, Natalie, he's so cute.
Look at him.
Look at him. Can I just say he was named after see, he belongs in this segment because he's connected to books.
Yeah.
Because he was named after John Brown Rose and the Midnight Cat. Does everybody remember that book by Jenny Wagner? So I named him after that John Brown. So there you go. He has more than a cute purpose, I think. Meredith, bless your senior dog. Thanks, Meredith. Do you know, Meredith, there's another thing too about Serenity and having a senior dog. There is something very special about older dogs. I think there's a wisdom about them, a quietness. I mean, I love puppies as well. Don't get me wrong.
No, I agree. My dog is like locked away at the moment, or he would jump on me, and he's
because he's a puppy.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, Nicole, hi ladies. Especially great to see you again, Jane. So there you go. Michelle, John Brown is a bit of a cutie. He is. Alita, hi ladies. Jessie, love books by Deepak Chopra and Joyce Meyer. Melissa says hi, Cheryl and Jane. Carolyn says hi, Cheryl and Jane. Okay, you go and I'll find. I've lost my spot
we
again.
do have a book to share with everyone today, and it's Plan B, and it's by Shana Kennedy. And she is one of Australia's leading life coaches and keynote speakers. She's a best-selling author of numerous books, sort of self-help books, but they're really practical guides on how to implement strategies into your life to be sort of mentally well. And she knows what she's talking about because she's not just a life coach, but she has struggled with chronic fatigue syndrome and depression herself. Now, you did a podcast with her. We've just released it.
I did. Yeah. Do you know, I enjoyed my conversation with her so much. There she is, and she's so beautiful. Do you know what I really liked about her? I told her a lot more things that I would normally tell people publicly.
It's such a great conversation, that podcast.
Did you love it?
You really opened up to her. Like everyone
opened up to
it. Yeah.
Do you know, I think I did that because I needed that conversation as well. Like, you know, because a lot of the things that she says in that book, I've been through. Yes. And even though I haven't felt that I've taken, say, your approach, Jane, where I've gone and done whatever you need to do, I've come up with my own things, which actually she recommends in the book.
They're in the book.
They're in the book. Yeah. I didn't have any kind of language around them or anything like that. Yeah. I just kind of did my own self-care, if you like.
Yeah.
But it was really interesting. And one of the things that I'll point out, and go listen to the podcast because really I'm brutally honest.
Yeah.
One of the things that I found was really important when I talked about, when I became single, when my marriage broke up, and how, it was devastating for a very long time. Yeah. But when I woke up one morning and decided that wasn't the life that I was going to be. I wasn't going to be the victim. I wasn't going to wallow anymore, blah, blah, blah. And I felt that a certain switch had happened. Yeah. Now, I just thought that was me doing that. But she said that some people have that switch and some people don't. Yeah. And that was very interesting to me.
Yes. And that's like basically you had that kind of switch went off. You went, well, plan A, the thing that I'd planned isn't happening. How am I happy with plan B? You know? And I like what she said to you, that there is that kind of genetic component to that, but what overrides that is the habits and the little things that we do to kind of accept that, okay, plan A is just, that doesn't exist anymore. It's plan B. Whether it's personal, like a marriage, or professional, or whether it's like a pandemic, plan B. This is what you've got. How do you wake up every day and, and thrive?
Hey, do you know, I just did this in the last couple of days. This is another plan B that I've done. So when I renovated my house, I bought a really big dining room table because, as you know, and as a lot of you all know out there, food and wine and people and having people around for dinner is such a huge part of my life.
Yeah.
Well, in the last 5 weeks, that table is giving me great sadness because I look at it, it seats 8 people. It's really upsetting to look at it. I can't look at it anymore because I just think, when am I going to have people around again? You know? So I've decided to repurpose it. So it's not sitting there looking like a dining room table. So I've moved my desk out there. I put my computer on there. I put all my books on there.
Wow,
I put my, and I thought, I have to look at this table. I know that sounds crazy, right?
No,
but I have to look at it in a different way.
Yeah, no, that's really important, and that's really healthy. You've identified something that like is actually making your heart ache. How do I deal with that today? Great. Have a desk. Yeah.
Okay, let me read some more comments. Bianca, I'll go follow you on Insta. Thanks, Bianca. A lot of baking, so a lot of bread, a lot of food, I would say. Rosemary, hi everybody. Hi, Rosemary. Tanya says hello, ladies. Anne says I live near the same park. It's such great space. Oh wow, how wonderful! It is the best park. I love it, and I use the pool in summer as well. Mary, Jessie Joseph. I love Joyce Mayer books too. She's speaking to Jessie. Kylie. We're currently in lockdown here in Adelaide, but as I'm an essential worker, I've been busy. But having a nice day, relaxing with reading and taking it easy. It's so important, Kylie, isn't it? I hear you guys are coming out of lockdown tonight or tomorrow night, I think, which would be wonderful. Natalie, stirring and mixing and kneading, that's a soothing end, almost meditative. I agree with that, Natalie. It really is. I love that. Lynette says, love your precious dog, Cheryl. Oh, he's such a sweetie. Bianca, I have a love-hate relationship with the genre. Yes, same. Mary loves Brené Brown books on vulnerability. They're great, she says. Melissa says, hi, Jane and Cheryl. Hi, Melissa, we miss you. Mary, Rick Morton's latest book is great. It is great. I recorded a podcast with him, Mary. Go find it. It is so
and
great.
That falls into this category too. You know,
Dex, our lovely Dex who looks after all our IT. He's behind the scenes. Dex, can you put in comments the Rick Morton link to the podcast and the Jannar, the Plan B book as well? We'll put those in the comments so you can find them easily. Okay. So what else have we got? Okay, you go, Jane.
So I highly recommend listening to. I'm just looking. There's so many people here who are saying they've already listened to the podcast and loved it and gone out and bought the book because of how you revealed yourself on there. But I do highly recommend it for this time because it is. It's a very simple layout, very practical, beautiful layout, but very practical ways to just not dig into woo-woo, but just go, okay, how can I support myself when I'm getting Plan B?
Do you know what else I quite liked about her, just before we move on? And I think I might have mentioned this in the podcast. She's a consultant, and I'd say her fees would be huge. It's very expensive person to hire, and probably, and most definitely well worth it. But she said to me one of the reasons she wrote the book is to make that, is to hand over that experience and that guidance so people can afford it. But also too, during COVID, she did a lot of free work, pro bono work, to help people out. And I think that's so important because a lot of us don't have access to thousands of dollars. Janice says, hi, Cheryl, Jane and John Brown. I just read We Are the Weather by Jonathan Safran Foer. Interesting reads. Sally says, hi, ladies. Bianca says, John Brown is super cute. I don't know the book character or book. Bianca, go find John Brown, Rose and the Midnight Cat by Jenny Wagner. It's gorgeous. You will love it. It's a picture book. It's a kid's picture book, but it's got so many themes in it, actually. And just ordered Plan B after listening to your great podcast. Oh, thank you. Thanks, Anne. Mary, interested in Plan B after seeing it on Better Reading Insta. Thank you, Mary. Karen, I listened to the podcast yesterday, and the reason I'm on today, otherwise I'm not into woo-woo, Cheryl. You shared some personal stuff you wouldn't normally talk about. That's right. Thank you.
Yeah, and I love that comment that you've come here today and, promise it's never too woo-woo, but it's definitely inspiring titles,
It is.
And
it is
science behind them as well.
Do you know what I also think, Jane? And you probably know this. You got their way sooner than I did in terms of, self-help. But I feel that the changes just need to be minuscule.
Oh, absolutely. It's just
to make you feel better.
consistency.
Tiny. Yeah.
It's consistency. It's just adding small, consistent things into your life that makes such a big impact on it over time. You don't have to be a big meditator, but, if you go for a walk every day and, as you're doing, you're sitting in the park for that extra time, that's going to make such a big difference to you in lockdown.
Huge. It's already making a huge difference. It's making me happier,
Yeah.
Natalie says Oprah has a podcast, Super Soul, which is great, and a couple of woo-woo books I love. I learned something new today, Cheryl. I never knew you had been married before. Well, there you go. I had. Okay, so what do we got? Susan, my kitchen table is always used as a desk. Well, there you go. Different functionality for dining room tables. I never knew.
I'm sitting at my kitchen table at the moment,
I never knew. Mine was always for entertaining. Now I know.
Yeah.
Mary's from Melbourne, coming out of lockdown tonight. So grateful. Yeah, absolutely. And that's wonderful news. You've had your fair share of lockdown too. Susan, I love your name, Annie. She must be talking to somebody else. Kylie, yes, we're coming out of lockdown tonight. That's in South Australia, but still restrictions in place. All right. What else have we got?
Well, I'm going to give a quick shout out to Nikki Gamble. This is, I don't think it's out yet. It's out at the end of the month, so next week. Nikki Gamble, Dissolve. Now, I know you had a podcast with her recently and she told you this is coming up. Yeah. Look, I'll be honest with you. I've read half of it and we're going to talk about this more next month. It'd be great. Let's do this again next month and I can have a session. Because it triggered me in lots of ways about my ex-marriage, but in really great ways. It is a real... she wrote it for me. And I think every woman is going to read this and go, oh my God, she's writing about me. She's writing about me. She's writing about the space between you and every man of importance in your life, and it is so beautifully written. And I identify with it on every page. I feel like taking snapshots, or when you whose book was it?
Tim Winton.
And you would and Richard Flanagan as well. Remember, you were highlighting, writing the sentences down, and then you went, "I'm transcribing the book."
That's right.
This is my version of that.
Right. Okay.
So next month we'll talk about it more. I really watch out for it, ladies. It's out next week, and it is beautiful. It's really great. I really
like Nikki Gamble. I've recorded a few podcasts with her now, and she's just such a lovely conversationalist, and she is very candid all the time.
Yeah, it's a very great book. Yeah.
So, Susan, the book sounds so interesting. Mary loves Oprah's podcast as well. Natalie, this is a great chat, Cheryl and Jane, and beautiful John Brown. You forgot to mention that he is a star in Michael Rowbotham's book.
True.
John Brown is a character. I've never been a character in a book, but John Brown has. Kylie, Louise May is a good help self book author. I read one of her books many years ago and it has helped me a lot. And sometimes it just takes one book and it's changing, Suzanne, I've recently taken up photography. Yeah. I mean, that's something that I think I love. I mean, I only do photography on my phone and I really love it. But yes, I think that, taking up an interest, particularly something to do with the arts.
Something creative is like a real sense of mindfulness around that.
That's right. Hi, Joy Bell. Lovely to see you too. Susan loves the sound of this book. Bianca, I like Gamble. She's very direct and daring. I absolutely agree with that. Linda, thanks for the tip about Nikki Gamble book. Susan, yes, I read one of her books. And Mary, Nikki Gamble writes interesting books. Yeah. What else you got there?
This great book, Be Bold. It's like just so look at the color and the cover. You can see it's actually like a cloth cover by Alexis Ferdinand. It's a very sort of simply laid out book that is I think an excellent introduction to the thoughts that happen inside your head and neuroplasticity and the idea of being kinder to yourself in the way that you have that internal voice, and understanding, not being too attached to your own thoughts, which I think is a very big thing in lockdown, when, I think things can get very stressful and your own mind can be your own worst enemy. And a book like this has very simple instructions and introductions to changing those thoughts. And I'm all for that for everyone. I think everyone should be kinder to themselves. So that's a great little book. Just this one I'm reading at the moment. I've seen it, actually is a film, and now I'm reading the book. It's called The Portal by Tom Cronin and Jackie Pfeiffer, and they both did the film as well. But Tom Cronin is one of Australia's top meditation teachers. And so it's just about how regular meditation can be a portal into all sorts of just benefits in your life. And, I'll go on and on and on about that. Yeah. I have meditated for years, and anytime I've stopped, I always go back to it because it is the one thing that just centers me in life. So, yeah. What else have we got?
All right. There? Is that it for us? We've got, we had quite a few comments, but I think that's it. We're going to say goodbye. Yeah. I think we're going to wrap up. I'll join Jane on this next segment, which is what, monthly.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Monthly. And I think, like you, I'm going to learn a lot. I mean, like all of our readers out there, I might learn something.
Well, I'm really passionate about this, wellness and lifestyle.
No, I'm just going to grab John Brown so he can say goodbye to everybody as well. Come on, come here.
Mary, fab segment. Thank you, Mary. That's lovely.
We're going to say goodbye to everybody. There's John Brown. He's going to say goodbye. And thank you so much for joining us. I've got to tell you, Jane, I know we say this a lot, but I love our readers. I do. Yeah, I just love them.
I've really missed them. I haven't been on for ages and I've missed them, Yes, so, both Cheryl and I are going to go on and read all the comments. So keep commenting. Tell us who you like. Tell us what you need in this whole area of books. Let us know what you're struggling with and what you'd like to read and what you'd like us to talk about. So, Oh, look at him.
He's just giving his mother a kiss. Okay, see you all. See you next time.